Hey y'all, welcome back to the Stylist Rant Podcast. We're excited to be here. It's Kristen, your favorite stylist, style savant, style biz coach, and always
it's your girl Tone, aka the stylish one, and I am just so excited to be back here with you guys today. Thank you for tuning in to episode 3 of the Stylist Rant Podcast, season 2. We have a fun show for you guys today.
So. Yes. And our color today is orange.
Yes. So as you guys see, we're trying to stay on theme with like similar colors or just similar palettes. So yes, today we are orange. One of our videographers said we're giving peach today. So I'm loving it. It's spring, you guys. It is finally spring. So bring those cute fits out. We're ready. We got legs out. We got some skin out. So we are just so excited. And thank you guys again for tuning in.
Yes. And we're back with another episode. Today, we're just going to recap a little bit about your Africa trip. As y'all see, we have some products in the back just to showcase all the things that she did during that trip and just what she learned. And then we're going to talk about some resume stuff. So perfecting your fashion resume. We have some really, really great tips and advice that we're going to provide for y'all today on that. So, yeah. Is there anything you want to share about what you're doing or what you got going on before we get started?
Well, I have a lot of things going on, but I do want to congratulate myself because I have moved into a new studio / showroom space. So that is really what I have been working on for the last 2 months. I am in a space that is much more creatively secure. It also is on my time. I'm no longer on anyone else's time. And I also have the, opportunity of sharing this space with another great Black-owned business called Clear Cut. She specializes in like upcycled denim, a lot of vintage pieces. So it's fun to be around another creative. Yeah. We pretty much kind of do the same thing. But it's no, really like overlap there. Like we kind of do the same thing, but it's so different at the same time. So I've just been working on that. The semester is winding down. I'm just getting back from Africa. I'm planning my next trip, which is to Lord knows where. Right now I have up in the air Paris, India, and back to Africa. So that is what I'm working on. I'm just trying to keep it all together.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know, I'm the CEO and founder of Style Phonetic Stylings, where we do everything from helping you refine your ideal of thrifting. We help you with styling services. We also have a sub-brand called Poor Style Rich Fashion, where we are able to execute and create customs, one-of-one pieces, ready-to-wear pieces, things like that. So a lot of things going on with me right now, but I'm just excited because this summer, with me being in a new space, I'm going to be able to do not pretty much a rebrand, but I'll be able to get back into the groove of things. So I'm super excited for this summer, and I'm even more excited for the fall.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to live in the moment.
Yeah.
My favorite season, I'm a spring baby because I'm literally born 2 days after spring. But my favorite season is definitely the fall. I'm such a fall girl. The fall fashion, fall vibes, fall weather. I just love everything about the fall. So, But I'm loving spring. Spring, please. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming through.
We love the warm weather.
Yes.
We don't love allergies though. So y'all gonna hear me sniffing throughout this episode. Don't worry. It's just my allergies. But I'm glad that you mentioned the studio. I completely forgot because I haven't been invited to the studio yet.
There's nothing. The studio is very much under construction. No one has been to the studio unless you're in that building. So,
and I know you're always there because every time I check your location, I'm like,
yes. So
do she be spending the night?
No. So the thing, actually, it's so funny that you bring that up because my best friend Selena, who's in the architecture program and she makes neon signs, she's also in the studio as well. Sure. So we're in the same building. My space is more set up as like a working space because I'm also sharing it with someone, but it's very showroom style. So we have an actual sitting area. We have like wardrobes on the wall, or that is what's getting installed now. And then we have our workspace in the back. So it's really like when you're in my space, you're either working or you're shopping. Yeah. Selena's space is much different because Selena doesn't have to have any clients in her space. So her space is literally her space. So she actually just bought this couch.
So you can sleep on the couch?
Yes, the couch has gotten me a few times, guys, because I work so much, y'all. Y'all really do not understand. I do virtual styling, and sometimes I'm not done virtual styling until like 11 p.m. And you know, sometimes you'll just sit back on the couch and then next thing you know, it's 2 a.m.
Mm-mm.
So yes, that couch will get you. I don't know what couch that is. I know she got that couch off of Amazon.
Let me ask her.
Ever since she got that couch, y'all, and I have to work late, I have been a victim to the couch. I have been a victim. So if you have checked my location at a crazy time and I was at the studio, I promise you that couch has gotten. Now, if it's like 12 o'clock-ish and I'm looking like I'm moving around, I'm probably in my studio actually moving around. But yeah, anything after 11, if you see me in that studio, the couch has gotten me. Yes.
Well, y'all heard it here first. She's in the studio sleep.
Yes.
But
after hours.
Yes. But I want to talk a little bit about these pieces because you were supposed to wear this top. That's why we got orange on, y'all. This was the inspiration, the top.
See, it's inspiration though. The thing was, guys, I'm also going through a transition with my clothes. So it's like I'm putting away winter clothes, going through spring clothes. I could not find a bottom. I know the Stylist Rant can't find anything. I know. But I could not find a bottom to wear with that top. So what better way to still show you guys? I just put it on a hanger. So just to give you an overrun of my trip, if you didn't tune in last episode, if you didn't, make sure you go back and watch it. But I headed to Ghana. I was there for about 11 days. It was the best experience ever. I am telling people, if you have not been to Africa, try to get to Africa. I don't care what part of Africa, just get somewhere. But I had the opportunity of being in Accra, Ghana, and I also had the opportunity of visiting the Cape Coast. So, I mean, 100 out of 10 experience. You know, you have to go to Africa and be humble. It is not as modern as the United States, but I really just loved everything about that. It was such a humbling, down-to-earth experience, you know, really meeting locals. I really met some family out there, guys. I met some friends that, you know, I'm still in contact with via LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be. But it was just such a great experience. So while I was out there, of course, being a fashion merchandising major, and just a fashion, you know, a lover of all things fashion anyway, my goal was to definitely get there and bring some fabrics. So I was able to get some amazing fabrics out there. And the money conversion is crazy. So I literally got these fabrics for next to nothing, guys. Like pennies. Next to nothing. So to just get us started, if Chris, she can be my showgirl. If you want to show this top, the top. And then there are also some accessories on the top as well. So for the top, I want to make sure I'm saying the brand correctly. So the top is Sasha African Wear, and this is actually an African designer based here in Maryland. Okay. So again, I was supposed to wear this top today, but the stylist was not clicking in me today. But I love the top. It's super breathable. A lot of the fabrics that are used in Africa are 100% cotton. So it's super lightweight. It usually they will have like matching pieces. When I was out there, I did see that it didn't matter what the degree was. It did not matter what the day was. Everyone was decked out in beautiful African print, from the kids up to the adults. And it's definitely everyday wear for them. So y'all know me. I love getting dressed every day. So this to me was just everything. I'm like, look at them getting up, getting dressed every day, whether they're just walking to the market, walking to work, just walking. I just love that, they would dress head to toe. So I'm excited to wear this piece. I'm excited to take some fun pictures in it. I'm mad it did not make it to Africa. She was supposed to come to Africa with me, but she got left in the closet. But I'm glad I didn't, because I wanted to more so take in the experience. So I'm just glad to see how they were wearing it. So now I can come back and put my own little zhuzh to it. So yeah, so that's that top. Yes. So what Chris had took off was I had got some jewelry from a local market. So the bracelet in Kristen's right hand is the match to this necklace. Okay. Yes. And then that one on the left, my favorite color is blue. So I was getting anything blue. I got this from a wonderful vendor. Her name was Ajua. Ajua was amazing. She gave me great deals. I have another bracelet. It's smaller. It just has the Ghana colors. One of the little boys there actually gave it to me as a gift because we were in Ghana on my birthday. So, every day I had to make it a point to let everybody know it's my birthday. Big RA season. We got it started off right out there.
Please.
But yeah, so shout out to Adjua. I got this from one of the markets. Now, the markets out there are no joke. If you are not into haggling and you're just not into people coming up and selling to you, the market is not for you. It is a very intense place.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, y'all, they stormed us when we got off the bus. It's so funny because I was just going through my content on Africa because I'm trying to start my vlog. But I'm going through the content and I'm like literally on the camera like, y'all, they just swarmed us getting off the bus. I almost fell off the bus. Like, it was a whole thing. But when they see Americans, in their minds, American equates money. So they were like, yeah, make sure we get everything we can out of them. And,
right.
I wanted to make sure I could support as much as I could. So jewelry, fabrics, clothing, number one items I secured while I was out there. So I can't wait to wear these pieces. I literally wear the bracelets every day.
So
I had the bracelets on when I came in here today.
Yeah,
I love
brown.
the bracelets. I incorporate them. I don't care what the style is. Like, I wear those bracelets with just about everything. I love them. Little piece of Ghana that I can carry around all day. So next we have just some fun fabrics. I actually went to 2 separate places to get fabrics. One was a store inside the Accra Mall, and then the other spot was just this young lady. I have no idea how we ended up there. Our tour guide, his name is Miles. Great guy. He showed us the best time in Ghana. He's actually from Baltimore as well, but
nice.
He does a lot of traveling and studying. So he was our tour guide on the trip. But I just know I was on a bus, knocked out, and then they woke me up like, Tone, we're at another fabric store. So, jumped up, hopped out the car. We definitely was on like the side of the road, which was fine. I trusted that while we were in Africa, it was fine. But yeah, and I was able to get some amazing fabrics from there. So this one is probably my favorite. I got the most yardage out of this. Also, all of these fabrics are 100% cotton, and they're also wax. They're wax cotton too. So this is like super authentic, 100% cotton, straight from Ghana. It really doesn't get any better than that. I don't know exactly what I'm making out of this fabric, but just to even just have this fabric, I'm just such a collector of great things. It's so much I can make out of this. Because like I said, I have 12 yards of this. I can make a couple pairs of pants.
Or a set, like a matching jacket.
And that's the thing about it. After leaving Africa, well, I've always loved the set. But to have a set in such vibrant colors is so different. So yes, blazers for sure. Because y'all, I'm such a blazer girl. Wait till we get into these fall episodes. Child, I have a blazer on every day. Blazers, even like some shorts, a cute skirt, like so many opportunities. I have people asking me to make bags already out of this, like little tote bags. So I'm just so excited about what's to come out of this fabric. And just to even have this in my studio is amazing.
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to play with different colors. So I wanted to get no colors that were the same. So next is just going to be this really pretty earth tone fabric, a lot of nice browns, oranges, ivory whites, tans, creams, things like this. So this is definitely something that will be made into a fall piece, of course. So y'all, just feel it. It feels so nice.
Yeah, it does.
It's so lightweight.
Yeah.
So again, the ideas are flowing. I just don't know exactly what it is that I'm gonna make. Now, this one is really my favorite. I know they're a little heavy, right?
Yeah, they are.
Yes. But this one I like because it's like multi-patterned.
Yeah.
So as you see on one side, it's one pattern. But then when you open it up, it's another pattern. So again, just so many playful pieces
I love the brown
that
and
can
blue.
be created out of it's just, Africa was just so amazing, y'all. I just can't. And then the last fabric is, I wanted to just do something simple. I actually think I'm going to use this fabric to create a nice cushion pillow for my work chair when I'm working in the studio, because our studio theme and color is like black, whites, creams, metallics, accents, things like that. So my work chair is black. So I thought this would just be a fun way to add a little pop of color, to my little work chair, and also just some comfort. Because, if you sew, you do know that your back, your leg, all of that can get, a little cramped up after a while. So just probably use this to create some comfortable pillows, for the space.
It says super stylish. I love
that. At the bottom, right?
Yeah.
And then some other accessories that I was able to get. These are probably two of my favorite as well. It was so hot in Africa, y'all. There is literally 1 degree in Africa and it is hot, okay? So first day we went to the market, I got me this fan. I love this fan, okay? My favorite color is blue. I'm sure we've already established this. But this is a cloth fan, so it is super durable, super portable, lightweight, compact. I love it. You can stick it in just about any bag as long as the bag is not too small. But I literally carry this with me just about everywhere. And then lastly, when we went so this was also an educational trip. So we did take a trip to the slave caves while we were in the Cape Coast. So if you don't know much about the slave trade through the Cape Coast, I definitely suggest that you guys look that up. Super heartbreaking, but it's super real. Like, it happened. These are things that actually happened to us and to our people. So if you want to just learn a little bit more about that, I definitely suggest reading up on Cape Coast or even visiting the Cape Coast. But after we left the slave castles, we went to the last bath. So if you're not familiar with the last bath is basically where our ancestors were taken to be cleaned off, washed off, and taken to auction. So again, Ghana is such a spiritual journey for a lot of people. I know there were a lot of, Christian faith people on the trip, and one story that we heard were that, while they were down in the dungeons and things, there was a church directly on top of them where they would have service, and, people would hear, the in captive slaves underneath, but no one would do anything about it. So now there are people questioning, their spirituality and their religion after this trip. It was like crazy. It was such a crazy and just like eye-opening trip to just have. I couldn't even record everything, y'all, because like it was times we was like tearing up. It was just a lot. It was really, really, really just a lot. But it was such a educational, eye-opening, inspiring, and motivating trip. Life changed when I come back from Africa. Okay. But lastly, this was one of my favorite pieces I acquired while I was over there. I actually got this. I know it's a jumpsuit. I actually got this from a vendor who was out there at the last bath. And I'm just like, and again, it was my birthday while I was out there. So I wore this on my birthday while I was out there. We went to a polo club. So I got to see them playing polo for the first time. Okay. No Ralph Lauren. I saw it with my own eyes. Black people out there playing polo, never seen it. I actually met one of the chairmen of the polo club. Y'all know, love a manager, love a owner, because when I come back, I need to make sure I'm well taken care of. So, yes, the colors, everything about this, so vibrant, and I can't wait. Actually, I'm glad the weather has broken, because now I can wear this in America and get all the compliments from the girls. So, yeah.
Where'd you get that from? You can't get this.
Babe, this is straight from Africa.
You can't get this.
Okay? I mean, ever since I've been back from Africa, I'm pretty sure the whole world knows that I have been, from Uber drivers to teachers to anyone who's come in contact with me.
Yeah. Well, that was a nice little recap. You really got a lot. You learned a lot. You got a lot. You brought a lot back. So I'm excited to see how these fabrics turn into something.
And I will have the vlog up soon, guys. I mean, I am literally just trying to finish this semester off. But if you haven't, I did a quick little recap on my Instagram page. But I do intend on doing a full vlog on my experience. So stay tuned for that.
The opportunity of you going to Ghana and how that came to play. And I know a lot of that ties into like your experiences, your work experiences, what you have on your resume. I'm sure can you put this on your resume?
Well, absolutely. This can, because this was a service learning trip, I did receive service learning hours for this. So yes, this can go on my resume, because while we were also out there, we visited universities, we visited elementary schools, we visited after school programs, and we also donated. We donated to one of the elementary schools' libraries. So we literally donated over 100 books, a few pieces of clothing, so much Morgan merch to the schools. We sat in on guest lectures at the universities. I want to say we went to the University of Ghana, and then we went to the University of Cape Coast. So it was, again, I know we're looking like, oh, she went out there for fabrics, but guys, I was out there for almost 2 weeks, and it was a pleasure and a educational experience. So
Yeah. So I love that we kind of talked about putting this on your resume, because I feel like it's something that a lot of people wouldn't even think to put on their resume as a fashion creative, as a stylist. So I know we talked about, giving y'all some advice on perfecting your fashion resume. So first question, because we have a few pieces of advice, but how would you put this on your resume? Like, what skills would you take from this trip and from this experience, and how would you put that on your resume? Or would you just put it like down at the bottom, like, this is where I've been? And if you don't know yet, that's cool too. But
I feel like, well, this is right now outside of fashion. This will just go under my resume as like volunteer work.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and people have to understand, volunteer work is just as important as paid work. You get what I'm saying? Like, there are certain, organizations, communities, businesses that you can join just based off of the service, that you do for others around you. So this to me was, again, more of a service learning opportunity, more of a volunteering. Again, we went there and we helped people. I'm not saying we did life-changing work. Now, my life was changed after coming back for sure. But, what we did, donating books, donating clothing, giving our time, things like that. That to me was the most important. I have family that comes from Africa. I mean, of course we all do, but I know that I have direct family that I know that is currently in Zimbabwe right now. So for just me to get over to Africa, you get what I'm saying, was good enough for me. But fashion wise, I don't know how I will put this as far as fashion goes, because I didn't source these fabrics with anything in mind, or, I haven't made anything just yet out of the fabrics. But when I do make something out of the fabrics, that just goes under my portfolio, or it just enhances my resume of cutting and sewing, because now I can show you that, boom, this was the fabric, how it started. This is the pattern. This is the mock-up. This is the final piece. But right now, in the now, this can definitely go under volunteer work. And then when they see that under my resume, like, oh, you went to Ghana, studied abroad in Ghana. What did you do there? Then while I'm there, I can let them know I went to a university. I was able to sit in on their home economic class. I'm currently enrolled in family and consumer science, which used to be home economics in different wording. So to go to another country to sit in on a home economics class, we watched them sew. We saw them, they were making the cap and gowns for the seniors, that were graduating. So when they asked me, about that volunteer, work, I can be able to go in and let them know. But while I was over there, I was able to enhance fashion because I sat in classes. I talked to, they went to kente weaving. Things like that. I saw people, cutting and sewing in my face. We had someone come to the compound, take measurements, bring back finished garments the next day. So when they ask me, when they sit on my resume and ask me, I'm able to expand on it that way. So again, volunteer work is just as important as paid work.
Yeah. I think that's extremely important to mention. And one of our main points that we wanted to talk about today is really just highlighting relevant experiences. This is something that I feel like could be relevant to a lot of fashion jobs. Just, it's volunteer. And like she said, she can expound. But like, as far as like relevant experience, I know we kind of talked about this earlier, but when you're applying for different jobs, you don't necessarily have to have everything that you've done on that particular resume for that specific job. Because a lot of the times, certain experiences aren't relevant to the job that you're applying for. So definitely let me know your thoughts on what that looks like and how that can work for a resume, or just anyone listening in and needs some help with resume writing. I
would say, even let's just use this trip. So let's say before this trip, I hadn't worked anywhere but 5 and below. And I was a cashier at 5 and below. If I'm now, let's say I've gone through my program, or I'm currently even in my program, one thing you want to, if you're currently in school, what you want to put on your resume is the classes that you have passed that are relevant to what you're looking for. So even if it's under skills, you know, so let's say you're looking to work for a technical design company. So they want you to make tech packs. If you've taken computer aided design, you have some experience in tech packs because you know how to create. So you just have to kind of be creative as well in what you do. So for instance, let's again talk about someone's in school. Use the classes that you have passed or the classes that you know you have understand. If you've taken flat pattern, put on there you know how to make a pattern. You at least know the basics if you took the class and paid attention. Yeah. So when you're put on there, you let them know, look, this is what I can do. How do I elevate from there? X, Y, and Z. You know, let's say you want to go do a buyer position. You know, let them know I've studied abroad. You know, and as a fashion merchandising student, I visited multiple fabric shops. You know, I know the different fabrications of things. You know, that matters because when you're buying, you need to know why heavy knits aren't selling in Florida. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? It has to make sense. Yeah. Or why sheer chiffon fabric doesn't work in New York in December. You get what I'm saying? So just literally emphasizing the skills that you have. Again, you may have never had a job, but if you're in school, you're still learning something. You have had some sort of experience, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's just around campus. Yeah. Now, for those who are out of school, let's use this same trip. You get what I'm saying? I would say, again, you may not have any paid opportunities or any paid experience on your resume. But when you put under, you know, volunteer work, I did 80 hours of service or, you know, however many hours that you're awarded. You know, I did this many hours of service studying abroad. Now in their mind, they're like, oh, well, what was you doing while you were studying? Yeah. Now, let's say the job is, you know, design. While I was there, I sat in on design classes. While I was there, I visited different fabric shops. While I was there, I acquired actual pieces to see how they were constructed. You know, this is all a big game of finesse at the end of the day. So, you know, it's all about wording. And my whole thing is everyone looks good on paper. And if you look a certain way on paper, you'll at least get your foot in that door. Yeah. Because my whole thing is once people meet you in person, they're going to know if they're going to hire you or not. Right. Sometimes I've seen people have crazy looking resumes and then they come in and then you're so, you know, charmed by them or overtaken by them that you're like, I can work with this person. And then sometimes you have people that are perfect on paper and then you meet them in person and you're like, this is not going to work. Right. Right. This is not going to work.
And I think it's important to mention that a lot of what you think you don't know, you probably already know. So like, don't hesitate to put a little bit of everything on there that you feel is relevant to the job. But even things like your volunteer work, even your classes, like I said, or like Tone said, if you feel like you don't have experience, put down what you do have, which you've taken classes, you've gotten these credits, you volunteered, you've studied abroad, you've done all these things. I know it's been some time since I graduated college, so at this point, I've been blessed to have quite a bit of experience in the styling industry. But that's also can be, you know, something that's a hindrance as well, because I don't necessarily need everything that I've done. I know what did they say? If you should really only go back as far as like, I think 3 years or not.
I don't even go back that far. Yeah, I think it's like 5 years because just in case there's a gap or anything. But honestly, everyone knows me. I will work 2-3 jobs at a time. Let's start there. So when they look at my resume, like, how did you work all these places in the same day? Because one, I'm good with time management and I'm going to make it happen. And I only work part-time. I can't work full-time anybody. But I can do part-time here, part-time. Okay. But even going back to relevant experience, if you're looking, you know, for a buyer position, but you've only worked at a car wash, you know, you need to figure out what you did at that car wash to match that job. or if whatever you did at that job doesn't match, you need to just take it off. I think you need to take it off, and then you need to emphasize the skills that you have.
The transferable skills.
If you're a buyer and you know you work good in Excel, I promise you put that Excel on skills that you're good in, they're going to call you. Because to be a buyer, to be a merchandiser, the number one software you're going to use is Excel. So make sure y'all are researching these jobs as well to know, like, what are the qualifications that you need? What skills, what apps, what softwares do you guys need to know? Because I promise you, you may not have ever professionally worked with Excel, but if you know how to use Excel, I promise you they're going to give you a call.
Yeah.
They're going to give you a call. If you know that you're good with TikTok and you can make really good videos, put that there. You get what I'm saying? You may not have had a job, but put a link to your portfolio on your resume. Let them know I have not worked a formal position, but I do have these skills and I can showcase these skills that I have. So again, everybody has something to work with.
Yeah.
Something.
Especially if you have a business, y'all, like put your business on your resume. I've met so many stylists, so many fashion creatives who are wanting to find a job and wanting to start a career in fashion, and they have businesses, but they don't have their businesses on their resume.
They're probably scared that employers are going to be like, oh, you got your own thing going on.
No.
So, and I'm thinking that could possibly be it.
Yeah, which, I mean, I guess, but also too, I feel like that is the experience that you have. So you have to include that some kind of way, but really hone in on those transferable skills. A lot of what you should also be considering to add to your resume is just what they have in the description of the job.
Yes.
Like they are literally giving you everything that you need to have on your resume. Those are those keywords. And that goes into one of our next tips, fashion industry keywords and language. So really making sure that you are speaking, talking the talk and walking the walk and speaking the words that are those buzzwords when it comes to fashion. Really making sure that you are using specific terms and role specific buzzwords, anything that is really going to help you to stand out from every other resume that they're looking at, but also to those words that highlight those skills that we talked about.
I'm going to even take it a step further. And everything Kristen is saying is so true, but we're also in an age where they use a lot of AI. So it's not even the fact that you are putting those words because they actually apply to you, but because a lot of the processes with applications are going through AI. So if AI doesn't even spot those words, you can have the best resume in the world. It's going to decline your resume because they're basically using the same format. When they copy and paste that job description onto LinkedIn or Indeed or wherever you're finding it, they're also putting that same information into whatever AI system that they're using to process applications. So those buzzwords like, I don't know, I'm drawing a blank, but those buzzwords that they're looking for or those industry terms that they're looking for, they want to see that on your resume. Like for instance, Excel could literally be a word that they're looking for. So if you don't have, if you just have proficient in Microsoft suites, that in the AI's mind is probably, it may or may not compute to, how to use Excel or how to use a Google Doc. Again, I don't know how specific or how, wide range the AI is, but I have been told from a recruiter that is how a lot of it is done. So if you physically have to sit there and list out every app, every software, everything you are proficient in, it takes a little extra time, but I promise you it may help you in the long run because everything is so automated nowadays that because everyone looks good on paper. You get what I'm saying? People are putting more into their resume. So now employers have to deal with double, the candidates with still the same amount of time. So they're doing that or cutting that time by integrating the AI. So just like she said, make sure you're using those keywords. Don't cut corners and say, oh, I'm proficient in Adobe Suites. What can you do in Adobe? Are you good with Adobe Photoshop? Are you good with Adobe Illustrator? Are you good with Adobe Premiere? Are you making videos? Like, you have to be specific in what you're looking for. Or be specific in what you can do.
Yeah.
Like, that's very important.
Yeah, and even going to like the descriptions of your experiences, like explaining what you've done, the goals that you've met, your accomplishments. I feel like we don't necessarily highlight the stuff that we've done. We just
my
say
accomplishments is right at the top of my resume. Everything from scholarships to grants.
Yeah.
Again, you may not have the work experience, but if, again, say you're an artist and you're applying for the art department at the biggest company on the East Coast, you may not have any, formal experience, but if they see that you got a grant from the Baltimore City Office of Arts, in their mind, they go like, oh, well, what did you do to get that? Now you let them know, hey, I painted this high school, or whatever the case may have been. You get what I'm saying? Or, I've been in this many art shows, and from these art shows, I made this amount of money. So that lets them know you're selling art, you're working on your craft, you're doing what you're supposed to do. So again, it just goes back to use what you have to get what you got, but make sure it makes sense.
Make it make sense, y'all. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
So the last point that we wanted to hit on when it comes to fashion resumes is building a portfolio. I think we kind of briefly talked about this as we were discussing the other points, but don't be afraid to, create a portfolio that showcases your work and what you're good at. For a long time, we worked together, and I assisted Tone on some photo shoots to build out both of our portfolios, to be honest. And we brought together our counterparts, our friends, makeup artists, hairstylists, photographers, and we just so happened to know these people who were doing these things. And we were able to build out our portfolio because I know a lot of you may be looking for those opportunities to build your portfolio, but a lot of the times you're going to have to create those opportunities on your own.
And that's where we come from. We come from that generation. Like, I think, again, yes, we grew up with social media, but people have to understand when we first started this was over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When we first started styling. It's so crazy to just keep even saying it. But 10 years ago, social media did not have the same intended purpose that it does today.
Nope.
Yes, you would more so just use social media to promote your business. Some people's businesses now are on Instagram. You get what I'm saying? Some people don't even have websites and things like that. So, we come from the age of you have to build your website. People weren't asking for your Instagram handles and your Twitter handles when you were applying for jobs. No, they were asking, do you have a resume, a portfolio, a website, something like that. So that again goes back to what we were saying. When we came up, guys, and we were looking for these jobs, we had no experience, no formal experience. We could only show these people our resumes, our websites, our blog posts, features. If you're featured in a magazine, a newsletter, anything, that is work.
Yeah.
Those are things that should be included in your portfolio. So again, when they're scrolling through, they may not see that you have any formal work experience, but they see that you're proficient in 13 different softwares. They see that you can speak 2 different languages. They see that you've gotten 4 grants from the arts department. You get what I'm saying? They see that you have a portfolio that aligns with their business. That right there to them is worth more than work experience, because 9 out of 10 times you can tell them, oh, I worked here and I did this, but to show them what you've done, they're not going to call that company and be like, hey, could you send me over such and such old work? No. So you got to make sure you take it upon yourself to create those opportunities, execute those opportunities, and then show and display those opportunities.
Yeah.
I know me and Kristen, we literally, it's just so crazy. Like, it just feels so old, but it's like we really was sneaking in places and finessing tickets and just trying to, get in these places and these spaces. And it's just like now, I'm grateful for social media and the way it has elevated, but we just come from a different time. Yeah. And we definitely can see the disconnect, or we can definitely see the difference between when we were coming up as creatives and the new creatives. Kind of coming up. It's like the newer ones not to say all of them, but the majority of them want things handed to them. They want to shoot somebody one time and think like, yeah, this goes viral. Now I'm shooting Beyonce. No, it does not work that way. Back in the day, we were just happy to style a local celebrity.
Yeah.
We were just happy to style a homegirl when she pays us. Like, you know, and obviously, you know, expectations grow as you grow, but yeah, I can honestly tell you a lot of the jobs that I've worked, I created. We walked into boutiques and asked them, did you need help? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, we made positions up for ourselves. So, you know, if you don't have experience, make experience.
Yeah. And that's how you learn, from stepping outside of your comfort zone, doing things that you've probably never done before, and not being afraid to mess up. A lot of what I used to do, just looking back on my old work, even I'm sure looking back at your old work, I could laugh because it's like, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really know much of anything, but I still was trying, putting myself out there. So this is just an encouragement to you all to create your own opportunities if they don't exist. We're born and raised in Baltimore. You came to Baltimore later in life, but it's not all these fashion things that are going on here.
And even from DC, we've seen the fashion scene in DC. Again, me and Kristen had
fashion scene?
Exactly. We had to travel for these opportunities. Me and Kristen, we used to get in my little Beetle. We used to just go to New York. Listen, I used to drag Kristen and be like, girl, we ain't got tickets for nothing, but we're going to go up there for the day. I'm going to put the charm on. We're going to get through these securities, and that's just what we're going to do.
Yeah. And
nowadays,
to do that.
We had to do that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because we came out in a time where the stylist was very behind the scenes. The stylist was very hidden. The stylist was very much a hidden gem. You get what I'm saying? Now for the stylist to be just so upfront, in person, you know, I'm thankful for the Law Roaches and the Zarenas out here or the June Ambroses, of course, you know, because they are the ones who really, you know, bust that door down to be like, listen, we are a very important part to this process. You get what I'm saying? Without us, a lot of your favorite stars would not be in these looks, would not be as elevated as possible.
Right.
You know, and I love to use Cardi B as an example. You know, I really think that Cardi B was able to shoot to the stardom that she has because of her looks. Not because she's light-skinned and has a big butt. No, because she came out in fashion. She solidified her, and y'all know I'm a barb, so that we don't even have to go there. But she definitely came out with a stylist. He was there with her. She was bringing him on the red carpet. You know, she really showed us, like, I'm not doing this by myself. This man right here is responsible for me looking like this.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that was a really good push for a lot of stylists. You get what I'm saying? They're like, okay, my voice matters. And then you got the Law Roaches who not playing with nobody.
Yeah.
Straight out of Chicago, like, listen, I'm a boss. This is my lane. I'm very proud of my work. I'm very proud of my clients. I'm a tastemaker. You know, I'm a change maker. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I love that, you know, we're now on the forefront. People are now like, I have to invest in a stylist. I feel like people are much more, if you listen to a lot of our interviews from back in the day, a lot of the things that we would say was we felt like people did not value us as a stylist. They didn't value kind of what we did. They didn't understand why they had to pay what they paid. Like me and Kristen used to have conversations with people like, we get that your budget is this much, but you still have to pay a styling fee of this much. So they never understood the extras. But now I think the conversations are definitely changing. People are not questioning us as much. People are like, oh, okay, you say you're a stylist. This is what you do. Okay, let's see what it is versus, oh, why am I paying that or what's going on? So people are definitely getting more comfortable, you know, and things like that. But what I will say is that now there's a problem of oversaturation in the market, but that is another story for another day.
Definitely a whole nother episode.
Yes, that goes back.
Talk about that a lot.
That goes back to our influence over expertise conversation.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen that episode, definitely make sure you check it out.
Yes.
But speaking of Laura Roach, I don't know if you saw that he styled the May issue of Vogue.
Yes,
basically doing all the
dandy. Because that's the thing for the Met Gala, and y'all know this is our lane. I literally just come from working at a men's suit shop where I literally got men dressed in suits and formal wear every day. I did that for 2 years, guys. So I just love that the world is just coming full circle for me.
Yeah. No,
we gotta pull our suits out.
Look, I need to get some more suits. I have the blazers, but I need to get the matching pants. But no, I think this is such a great theme, especially the time that it's happening, the people that are in charge, the people that are on the board. I feel like this is such a pivotal moment in the fashion industry, because I feel like a lot of people are now paying attention to what is happening, what's being said, what has already been said. Honestly, nothing needs to be said at this point. Just look at the outfits. Look at the clothes. Look at the photo shoot.
Look at the tailoring. That's one thing, I've always been passionate about, is great outfits are made by tailoring.
Yeah.
Point blank, period.
And that's what we used to do as people back then, because nobody could afford clothes. So they had to make it themselves. And now it's extremely expensive, not super expensive, but now it basically costs the same amount to buy something versus getting it made, at least in my opinion. But correct me if I'm wrong. Because you got to buy the fabric, you got to pay
and
the
that's
person.
what I'm saying. So I think, not a lot of things about it is just labor itself is just expensive.
Yeah.
Labor is always going to be expensive because people want to be paid for their time. And there is a quote, I don't know where the quote is, but the quote is in my mind. But someone said that if fashion got paid as we were supposed to get paid, we would be one of the richest, workers, not just the companies, but the workers itself. Like if actual seamstress and those who work in these factories got paid the actual what it's really, worth, easily be clearing $1 million a year.
Yeah.
As a worker.
Yeah.
Easily as a worker. You get what I'm saying? So that's another conversation within itself. Manufacturing of fashion.
Yeah.
That's what I'm in school for right now. Fashion merchandising. So just learning about sourcing, all of that stuff. Even what Trump got going on right now with these tariffs, all of these people who, have such as dependent, which is all of us, but just in the fashion realm. A lot of these companies that are super dependent on the Chinese manufacturers, prices are going to be ridiculous. So, I'm sure small business owners are happy because now a lot of their work is going to be sourced back to America. But when it comes to clothing and things like that, clothing is produced way too fast for us to keep up with that here in America. So when it comes to fashion, we're definitely going to take a big hit, when it comes to that, because whether you're trying to get a sample, whether you're trying to get your full line, whatever it's going to be, samples sometimes can run you, $1,000, depending on what you got going on. And let's say I don't do manufacturing, drop shipping, any of that. I cut and sew. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I obviously shop at the mall and things like that, but you guys know I'm sustainable. I can go to the thrift store and get my whole wardrobe. It's never been nothing to me. But for those people, who do wholesale and they don't make their own pieces, it's going to be hard for them because they're going to have to raise those prices. Yeah. And now it's really going to be a competition because, no shade, but a lot of people sell the same stuff. Mm-hmm. So now it's really just going to be a battle of who has the best prices.
Yeah.
So that's literally what it's going to come to. Who has the best prices? So I'm actually a little happy for those slow fashion brands that make their own clothing and manufacture their own stuff, because now I do think that business will be brought back to them. But a lot of people that do have these, relationships with China to bring in and out stuff, it's going to be hard for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. So a lot of these businesses who's really don't put a lot of value and time into what they're creating and are just trying to make money.
That money grab.
They're going to be put out of business.
Yes.
And that's fine with me. I think he had good intentions with this. He just kind of went about it in a very weird and Trump way.
I think a very Trump-esque way. I think he's going about it a very, I'm in charge and this is what's going to do. But it's just like, you attract more bees with honey than vinegar. And I feel like, obviously all of this stuff could have been handled a little better.
Yeah.
But, we'll see how it all plays out. But shout out to all the small businesses that care about their business, that value their business, and really, put their all into their businesses. And, even if you do wholesale and you do still care about your company, I hope that everything works out for you. And if you are a small business who does manufacture their own goods, I hope more business comes to you.
Yeah. We're wishing all the small businesses the best of luck throughout this time. And I think that's all we got. Is there anything else you want to add? We covered a lot.
We did. I just want to say I'm blessed to be back in America. I can't wait to get back to Africa. I'll keep you guys updated with where I'll be headed to next. I'm jet setting in my 30s, baby, okay? I'm outside.
Yeah.
And if you guys need any help with resumes, drop some, answers, questions, comments, concerns in the chat. We would love to respond to you guys. Maybe even do, something, for the Instagram or TikTok, even answering you guys' questions. Yeah. We'll be back next month.
Yes.
But anything you want to add?
Nope. Just make sure you create your own opportunities. Yes. Don't be afraid to apply for a job, even if you don't feel qualified, even if you don't feel like you have all the experience, because you never know. You never know what may happen. You never know who's going over applications. Yep. You never know what mood they're in. Today might be the day, like, I'm giving everybody a chance. So yeah. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So Exactly. Do what you gotta do. Also make sure that if you are looking for a new job or, something to do in the fashion industry, look outside of Google. Look on LinkedIn. See who else is working at other companies. Oh, you saying look outside of Google? Well, I was going to say literally Google fashion jobs near me. I mean, we really got to go back to the prime ages at this point, because everything is so SEO based as well. Yeah. This is why keywords matter. So if you're looking for a specific job, type in that job, hiring, or something like that. Use your brains, y'all. I know they up there. Just use them. And you can also create your own jobs, like we kind of talked about. So if you don't see anything out there that is relevant to what you want to do, you can create your own opportunity. Look and see, who may need help. Yes. Look and see who may need your services. And you can start local. Don't feel like you have to go to these huge, big companies, but start local with the smaller businesses. And they're the ones that need help. And they're the ones who will probably actually pay you for your help. These big companies want to do all these non-paid internships and things like that. You never know. Like Chris said, start local. You'll make an impact within yourself, your community, and those within a 5-mile radius. So why not? Yes. Well, that's all we got, y'all. That's all we got. We hope that these tips were helpful. We hope that this conversation inspired you and encouraged you to keep going. And I guess we'll see y'all in the next episode. Bye.